The Himalayas, the roof of the earth, are home to 14 peaks over 8,000 meters, including Everest at 8,848 meters. These mountains continue to grow taller year after year. The Tibetan landscape seems peaceful and tranquil, with traditional culture perfectly blended with the mystical mountain scenery. Mountain birds, wild goats, and many other wild animals have adapted to survive in an environment seemingly unsuitable for life. Amidst the majestic Himalayas, Tibet emerges as a scene both wild and sacred. Together with the images of people, herds of livestock carrying goods, prayer flags, and traditional dances, all of these elements combine to create a magical beauty where nature, people, and faith intertwine. The journey begins above Lhasa, where the Potala Palace rises from the hillside like a sacred fortress. Its white walls stretch across the mountain, while the red central palace glows under golden sunlight. Behind it, dark Himalayan ranges and drifting clouds create a calm, majestic background. As the view moves closer, the palace reveals its layered terraces, courtyards, and long walls surrounding the hill. Along the scenic viewpoints, tourists stop to take photos, enjoy the cold mountain wind, and admire the peaceful landscape. You may also meet local Tibetan people bringing beautifully decorated sheep or yaks, inviting visitors to take pictures for a small fee. With its pure blue color, the rolling blue waves rise and fall like the breath of the Tibetan plateau, revealing the sacred beauty of Namtso Lake, a heavenly saltwater lake, resting at about 4,718 meters above sea level. Arriving at Jang Temple in Tibet, visitors are immediately drawn into a sacred world of faith, color, and ancient tradition. Outside the temple, pilgrims kneel and prostrate themselves on the stone ground, repeating their prayers with deep devotion. Their movements reveal the powerful spiritual culture that has surrounded this holy place for centuries. Around the temple, white walls, dark wooden panels, golden rooftops, and traditional Tibetan patterns create a striking and unforgettable atmosphere. Inside, the temple is filled with warm light, painted pillars, colorful prayer flags, hanging ornaments, and the quiet scent of incense. Monks in red robes move through narrow halls, while visitors observe sacred statues, ritual objects, and detailed Buddhist decorations. Every corner tells a story of belief, history, and artistic beauty. For travelers, Jang Temple is not only a famous landmark, but also a place to feel the soul of Tibetan Buddhism and witness living devotion up close. Inside the monastery, the prayer wheels turn without pause, their painted surfaces glowing with gold, mantras and bands of red, blue, and yellow. Each rotation is more than movement. It is a silent offering, believed to carry prayers outward into the world. The camera reveals towering wheels beneath colorful canopies, their fabric fringes swaying gently above sacred symbols. Along the covered corridors, rows of large wheels stand side by side, touched by pilgrims as they pass. Under the blazing Himalayan sun, the monastery courtyard comes alive with color, rhythm, and devotion. High above the whitewashed walls, prayer flags flutter fiercely in the mountain wind, while hundreds of pilgrims and travelers gather shoulder to shoulder, waiting for the sacred performance to begin. From the crowded balconies, monks, villagers, and curious visitors look down as masked dancers enter the open ground. Dressed in brocade robes, golden headdresses, and fierce ceremonial masks, they move slowly in ancient circular steps. Each gesture is symbolic, echoing rituals that have been preserved for centuries in Tibetan Buddhism. The deep sound of drums, long horns, and cymbals rolls across the courtyard like thunder. Beneath bright yellow parasols, dancers portray guardian deities, spirits, and mythic beings, reminding the audience of the eternal struggle between ignorance and wisdom. Beyond the monastery, snow-covered peaks stand silently against the blue sky. Here, faith is not only watched, it is felt. The festival transforms the sacred space into a living prayer, cleansing negativity and blessing all who have come to witness it. Join us on a breathtaking tour through the sacred monasteries of Tibet, where every step feels like entering a world of peace, history, and devotion. Visitors wander across wide monastery courtyards, surrounded by golden rooftops, colorful prayer flags, and dramatic mountain landscapes. Inside the ancient halls, dim corridors lead travelers deeper into the spiritual heart of Tibetan culture. Tourists quietly observe monks performing traditional rituals, lighting butter lamps, and offering prayers before beautifully decorated statues. The sound of bells, drums, and chanting creates an unforgettable atmosphere. From hidden temple rooms to snowy cliffside views, this journey is more than sightseeing. It is a chance to feel the soul of Tibet, witness centuries-old traditions, and experience a sacred land where faith and nature exist in perfect harmony. Across the sacred mountains of Tibet, nature reveals itself with a majestic and almost otherworldly beauty. Vast glacial lakes reflect the deep blue sky, while dark stones rest beneath the clear, rippling water like ancient witnesses of time. Snow-covered peaks rise beyond the valleys, their white summits glowing under shifting clouds. Rugged cliffs, frozen slopes, and endless highland grasslands create a landscape both harsh and peaceful. In the quiet monastery courtyard, a lone monk walks beneath colorful prayer flags, surrounded by golden rooftops and towering mountains. As sunlight turns the peaks into burning gold, the entire land feels blessed and mysterious. Here, every lake, glacier, valley, and stupa seems to carry the breath of the Himalayas and the spiritual soul of Tibet. The busy daytime crowds disappear, leaving behind a quiet, sacred, and unforgettable moment before night covers the city. Yamdrok Lake, one of Tibet's most breathtaking sacred lakes, lies more than 4,400 meters above sea level, surrounded by endless mountains and wide-open skies. From the high mountain road, travelers can already see its majestic beauty unfolding below. A long ribbon of crystal-clear turquoise water winding between brown hills, snow-capped peaks, and drifting white clouds. As the road descends toward the lakeshore, the view becomes even more dramatic, with waves touching the quiet beach and warning signs reminding visitors to stay safe near the water. Along the scenic viewpoints, tourists stop to take photos, enjoy the cold mountain wind, and admire the peaceful landscape. You may also meet local Tibetan people bringing beautifully decorated sheep or yaks, inviting visitors to take pictures for a small fee. With its pure blue color, sacred atmosphere, and powerful natural scenery, Yamdrok Lake feels like a hidden jewel on the roof of the world. The rolling blue waves rise and fall like the breath of the Tibetan plateau, revealing the sacred beauty of Namtso Lake, a heavenly saltwater lake, resting at about 4,718 meters above sea level. Before the endless water and snow-covered mountains, a yak wrapped in colorful woven cloth stands quietly on the stony shore, as if guarding this ancient landscape. The journey then moves toward dramatic cliffs and natural rock arches dusted with snow, where prayer flags flutter in the cold wind. Farther away, white stupas and scattered stones face the calm water under vast clouds. Namtso opens into a brilliant turquoise horizon, framed by snow peaks, flying birds, and sacred prayer flags dancing above the cliff. Everest is not only a mountain, it is a place where the earth touches the sky, and human courage is tested against nature's silence. Rising to 8,848.86 meters, Mount Everest stands on the border of Tibet and Nepal, surrounded by some of the most dramatic landscapes on Earth. From the Tibetan side, the journey begins through vast valleys, dry brown slopes, and distant snow-covered peaks under a crystal blue sky. The road winds deeper into the Himalayas, where villages, prayer flags, and icy summits appear in the same breathtaking frame. A lone yak rests against a wall of snow and rock, showing the harsh beauty of life at high altitude. Higher up, the scene changes completely. Climbers in bright orange suits gather on narrow ridges, surrounded by endless white peaks and clouds. Camps sit on frozen ground, exposed to brutal winds. Every step is dangerous, Every breath is thin, and the cold can be unforgiving. The Himalayan mountains in Tibet rise thousands of meters above sea level, with many peaks reaching over 6,000 to 7,000 meters in height. In this vast high-altitude world, snow and ice cover the sharp summits like a white crown, while dark, rocky cliffs reveal the raw power of the earth beneath. Clouds drift around the peaks, sometimes hiding the mountaintops and making the entire landscape feel mysterious and sacred. The terrain is extremely rugged and dangerous, shaped by freezing winds, steep slopes, deep valleys, and jagged ridgelines. At this elevation, the air is thin, the temperature is harsh, and the silence feels endless. The mountains look peaceful from far away, but they belong to one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. Standing above the Tibetan plateau, the Himalayas symbolize strength, isolation, danger, purity, and the sacred beauty of nature. In the middle of this vast and silent land, the Tibetan plateau opens like an endless world beneath the sky. Small groups of travelers move slowly across wide grasslands, appearing tiny against the towering snow-capped mountains in the distance. Dark clouds drift above the valleys, casting shifting shadows over rolling hills, rocky slopes, and winding rivers that cut through the earth like silver threads. In some places, mist wraps around steep green cliffs, hiding and revealing the mountains with every breath of wind. Colorful prayer flags flutter brightly under the blue sky, bringing life and spirit to the rugged landscape. From deep forested valleys to barren high-altitude roads, every scene feels wild, sacred, and untouched. Here, nature is immense, powerful, and peaceful at the same time, reminding us how small we are in front of the grandeur of the Tibetan plateau. As we continue descending into the valley, the road becomes narrow and winding, clinging to the steep green mountainsides. Mist drifts between the peaks, while dark clouds gather above the distant ridges, giving the landscape a mysterious and dramatic beauty. Below, small Tibetan villages appear among terraced fields, their bright rooftops standing out against the deep green slopes. Along the roadside, prayer stupas, power lines, and simple mountain houses remind us that life here is both remote and deeply spiritual. In the village, blue-roofed homes sit beside fields and blossoming trees, creating a peaceful scene full of color and tradition. Local people still preserve their daily crafts, from working with grain to weaving by hand inside humble homes. Farther into the valley, villagers travel on horseback through rocky mountain paths, showing a way of life closely connected to nature, patience, and the ancient rhythm of the Tibetan highlands. Whether it is sunrise or sunset, every corner of Tibet reveals a different kind of beauty. On the vast grasslands, the last light of the day stretches softly across the horizon, painting the sky with warm shades of orange, pink, and gold. spring, Tibetan nomadic life awakens across the wide green grasslands. Herds of yaks and sheep scatter over the hills, while nomad families kneel on the damp earth, milking animals and carrying wooden buckets filled with fresh milk. Women in colorful traditional clothing prepare food beside the tents, boil tea, and care for newborn lambs sheltered from the cold wind. As winter arrives, the same land turns silent and white beneath deep snow. Stone houses, canvas tents, and distant prayer flags stand under the bright mountain sun, surrounded by endless peaks and frozen valleys. The light here is pure and sharp, revealing both the hardship and beauty of life on the plateau. For generations, Tibetan nomads have followed the rhythm of the seasons, living close to their animals, their faith, and the ancient culture of the highlands, where history, survival, and spirituality remain deeply connected. Life for Tibetan yak herders begins early in the morning, when cold mist still hangs over the wide grasslands and dark clouds drift across the mountains. Outside their simple black tents, families prepare for another long day on the plateau. The first task is to gather the yaks, calm them, and begin milking by hand. Fresh milk is poured into buckets, then churned into rich yellow butter, an essential part of their daily life. Men and women work together, tying ropes, loading wooden frames onto strong yaks, and guiding the herd across the open hills. In the distance, hundreds of animals spread like black dots over the green valley. Even in snow and freezing wind, the herders continue their routine with patience and strength. Their life is simple, but deeply connected to nature, tradition, and the loyal yaks that support their survival. On the remote Tibetan grasslands, life moves with the rhythm of the earth, the animals, and the changing seasons. Here, farmers work with quiet strength, guiding yaks across dry fields, herding them through snow-covered valleys, and caring for them beside simple wooden shelters. Under the blazing sun, they plow the rocky soil, carry heavy tools, and prepare food for their families. When winter arrives, the land turns harsh and frozen, yet their daily work does not stop. They milk the yaks, make butter and cheese by hand, feed the animals, and walk across the cold mountains with patience and determination. Their clothes are simple, their homes are humble, but their spirit is strong. In this wild and beautiful land, Tibetan farmers show a life of endurance, tradition, and deep connection with nature. Every day, they continue working silently, protecting the old way of life passed down through generations. For the people living in this Tibetan village, every activity has become a familiar part of daily life. Among the stone houses and narrow mountain paths, the rhythm of the day begins quietly, surrounded by snow-capped peaks and cold highland winds. Some villagers work patiently in green vegetable fields, bending close to the earth as they care for their crops. Others sit beside the river, resting on large rocks and watching the calm water flow through the valley. Inside their traditional homes, the warmth of the kitchen brings everyone together. A small fire burns, tea is poured into simple cups, and butter tea slowly boils on the stove. The bedrooms are modest, filled with colorful blankets and handmade items that reflect a simple but meaningful way of life. Outside, prayer flags flutter in the wind, herders guide their goats across rocky land, and ancient prayer wheels stand silently, carrying faith through generations. In the quiet workshops and courtyards of the Himalayan region, Tibetan handicrafts begin with the simplest natural materials: earth, wool, metal, fire, and patient human hands. The images reveal artisans carefully preparing clay-like soil, shaping rough blocks, heating metal until it glows red, and hammering it into form with practiced precision. Sparks, flames, and spinning tools show the strength behind each handmade object, while delicate carved patterns reveal the beauty that comes from generations of skill. In another scene, women work with wool and yarn, washing, dyeing, and arranging colorful textiles that will become traditional carpets or woven decorations. Every step is slow, physical, and deeply connected to daily life. These crafts are not only products, they are stories of culture, survival, and devotion. Through fire, dust, rhythm, and color, Tibetan artisans preserve a heritage where every handmade piece carries the memory of the mountains. Tibetan monks carefully draw a sacred sand mandala, where every delicate line reflects patience, devotion, and ancient Buddhist artistry. In this Tibetan school, children experience a colorful and meaningful school life where learning is closely connected with culture. In the open courtyard, students proudly perform traditional dances, wearing bright Tibetan costumes, long striped dresses, decorated hats, and colorful scarves. Inside the classroom, young children sit in a circle, listening carefully to their teacher and sharing activities together. During mealtime, they line up patiently and receive food, learning discipline and care. Other scenes show students marching in neat uniforms and joining school events under prayer flags. These moments reveal a joyful school life filled with learning, friendship, tradition, and community spirit. In the busy streets of a Tibetan-style food market, the making of momos begins with careful hands and fresh ingredients. A vendor fills soft white wrappers with a colorful mixture of chopped vegetables, herbs, and spices, then folds each dumpling into a beautiful crescent shape. For generations, Tibetan butter tea has flowed through daily life, like warmth against the cold breath of the plateau. From melting glacial streams to the glowing hearths of wooden homes, every cup begins with patience, experience, and respect for tradition. Dark tea is boiled until its fragrance rises deeply, then blended with rich butter and a touch of salt, creating a taste that is creamy, savory, and comforting. In family gatherings, it is poured into small bowls and shared beside hearty food, turning a simple drink into a symbol of welcome and togetherness. In monasteries, monks prepare great steaming pots, then divide the tea into smaller kettles, offering warmth to everyone around them. More than a beverage, Tibetan butter tea reflects skillful hands, especially the grace and care of women who preserve this tradition. Through song and dance, its spirit lives on, gentle, nourishing, and deeply rooted in Tibetan culture. Even more special is the making of Tibetan momo, a beloved traditional dumpling. Around a long table, skilled hands roll soft dough, fill each piece, and fold it into delicate shapes. Steamed in large trays, these warm momos carry the taste of family, patience, and shared mountain culture. In Tibet, a simple bowl of sampa can tell the story of an entire culture. Made from roasted barley, sampa is one of the most important traditional foods in Tibetan daily life. This dish is not fancy, but it carries warmth, history, and the spirit of mountain life. For Tibetan people, sampa is more than food. It is a symbol of home, strength, and tradition. High in the Tibetan mountains, sampa is more than a humble meal. It is a taste of home, carried through generations. From roasted barley ground into fine flour, this traditional food is slowly mixed with warm butter tea, a little butter, and sometimes sugar, creating a soft, earthy, and comforting flavor. In the images, each step feels simple yet full of culture. The barley is roasted, ground by hand, then blended in a bowl until it becomes warm and fragrant. Some versions are lighter and slightly sweet, while others are richer, with the creamy taste of butter tea. When the young man tastes the tsampa, his expression shows quiet satisfaction, as if every bite brings warmth to the cold mountain air. It is not a luxurious dish, but its nutty aroma, gentle sweetness, and deep cultural meaning make tsampa truly unforgettable. Beneath the pale sky of the Tibetan highlands, rows of white buildings stand quietly as clouds drift above the rooftops and prayer flags flutter in the wind. The market begins in narrow stone streets, where locals and travelers pass by small shops, old walls, and colorful doorways. Along the roadside, bright orange cloths display silver amulets, carved pendants, bracelets, and traditional ornaments, shining like tiny pieces of Tibetan history. Deeper inside, the stalls grow richer and more vibrant, filled with prayer beads, copper bowls, incense holders, miniature statues, peacock feathers, and sacred decorations used in daily worship. The peaceful street soon turns into a crowded market where people move shoulder to shoulder beneath rows of hanging clothes and bright lights. Thick cotton coats, fur-lined jackets, and heavy winter garments reveal the cold air of the high plateau. Outside again, modern shops, balconies, and mountain views complete a place where tradition and everyday life meet beautifully. Inside a warmly lit Tibetan prayer hall, villagers gather beneath sacred paintings and colorful thangka banners, where offerings, ritual objects, and rows of handmade tormas create an atmosphere of devotion. The camera moves closer to the delicate ceremonial ornaments, each bright circle and painted symbol reflecting faith, protection, and the harmony between human life and the spiritual world. Around long wooden tables, elders, monks, and families sit together, chanting prayers, reading scriptures, and preparing offerings with quiet concentration. Food is shared, hands work together, and every gesture becomes part of a living tradition. Beyond the temple, the prayer continues on dusty mountain roads and open village ground, where monks in crimson robes, dancers in sacred costumes, and villagers form a circle of blessing. From indoor chanting to outdoor rituals, every scene is connected like one flowing prayer, carrying hope, gratitude, and peace across the Tibetan village. The daily work of Tibetan herders begins early in the cold mountain morning. Around their simple wooden shelters, yaks and cattle graze on the rough hillside, while the herders prepare for a long day. One of the first tasks is milking the cows by hand, using traditional wooden containers to collect the fresh milk. Inside the warm, smoky house, the milk is boiled and carefully turned into butter, yogurt, and cheese. Long strips of cheese are then hung from the wooden beams to dry naturally in the mountain air. After caring for the animals, the herders move to the fields, plowing wet soil with a tractor or breaking the earth by hand with simple tools. During harvest season, they cut and gather crops from the golden fields. When evening comes, families and neighbors sit together near the fire, sharing food, stories, and quiet moments after a hard-working day. For generations, Tibetan butter tea has flowed through daily life, like warmth against the cold breath of the plateau. From melting glacial streams to the glowing hearths of wooden homes, every cup begins with patience, experience, and respect for tradition. Dark tea is boiled until its fragrance rises deeply, then blended with rich butter and a touch of salt, creating a taste that is creamy, savory, and comforting. In family gatherings, it is poured into small bowls and shared beside hearty food, turning a simple drink into a symbol of welcome and togetherness. In monasteries, monks prepare great steaming pots, then divide the tea into smaller kettles, offering warmth to everyone around them. More than a beverage, Tibetan butter tea reflects skillful hands, especially the grace and care of women who preserve this tradition. Through song and dance, its spirit lives on, gentle, nourishing, and deeply rooted in Tibetan culture. Even more special, is the making of Tibetan momo, a beloved traditional dumpling. Around a long table, skilled hands roll soft dough, fill each piece, and fold it into delicate shapes. Steamed in large trays, these warm momos carry the taste of family, patience, and shared mountain culture. In Tibet, a simple bowl of tsampa can tell the story of an entire culture. Made from roasted barley, tsampa is one of the most important traditional foods in Tibetan daily life. This dish is not fancy, but it carries warmth, history, and the spirit of mountain life. For Tibetan people, tsampa is more than food. It is a symbol of home, strength, and tradition. High in the Tibetan mountains, tsampa is more than a humble meal. It is a taste of home, carried through generations. From roasted barley ground into fine flour, this traditional food is slowly mixed with warm butter tea, a little butter, and sometimes sugar, creating a soft, earthy, and comforting flavor.